In this section, we are going to explain the remainder of the application data tabs of how to actually update and populate them. I'm going to start with the first two. These first two are the public body and the implementing public body. In these tabs, this is where you configure the settings to describe the organizations that are implementing the EPWP project. The first one, which is public body, this is where you describe the settings for a public body, being the organization that is implementing the EPWP project, that owns or funds the EPWP project. And most often, some EPWP projects are not implemented by the entity that actually funds them. So you will then have to select a different implementing public body. So that's the difference between these two tabs. However, in terms of setting up and the structure, they are all the same. Let's say I want to set up and update this information on the public body. I click onto that public body tab. At this level, the system is already set up with all the different types of entities or organizations that can carry out EPWP projects. Local municipality can be also a metro or a district municipality, can be a national department, it can be a provincial department, or a state-owned enterprise like Rainwater, ESCOM, or any other state-owned enterprises that may embark on an EPWP-related project. For our illustration, let's show how the structure of setting up changes on this public body works. It's also hierarchical. You would want here to describe, first of all, based on the type of that organization, what type of an organization is. In our case, it's provincial. So you would click. And then here, within the Gauteng province, we have created all the provincial departments that exist within the structure of the Gauteng government. It also includes the office of the premier. These can be updated and changed, but they don't change often because they normally change when there are elections and then there's a new government coming in and then they restructure. But normally they don't change that often. When you click, let's say we click on the Gauteng Department of Infrastructure Development. When we drill down on this one, the system then allows us to specify within that organization, in this case, the Department of Infrastructure Department, a unit or a branch or a department within that organization that is responsible for that EPWP project. Within the Gauteng Department of Infrastructure Development, we've got Capital Works, we've got Corporate Services, we've got EPWP. Let's say, for an example, we've got the Department of Finance that is responsible for an EPWP project. This is how you would create it. You will just simply say new, and then create that new department, and then you would save. And then there it appears. Finance has been created and it's new. To delete, it will also be the same. Let's say I want to delete this department that I've created. To delete this new department here, you would select it and then click on delete, and then it will ask you for a confirmation, and then you just say okay, and then you will then save. So this is how you set up information or you update information with regards to the organizations that are involved in the implementation of the EPWP project. On this tab, the structure is the same to this one in terms of it's hierarchical. It first of all starts with the various type of public entity that is going to implement that EPWP project, and then when you click on one, you can then edit or create that new entity, and then when you further click down or drill down, you can then specify which department, branch, or unit is responsible for that EPWP project. So this is how you would specify information with regards to the implementing public body. Now we're going to move on to specify the sector information. In terms of the sectors, officially, EPWP projects fall into these four main sectors: environmental and culture, infrastructure, non-state sector, and then the social sector. And similar to all the other way that the system works, is that this information is set up in a hierarchical manner. You could select one of the sectors. In this case, we are going to select infrastructure. And then within infrastructure, there may be various subsectors. So this is where you would then create or edit or change any of the subsectors. And then within each and every subsector, there is then a program. For example, let's look at the provincial infrastructure, which is non-roads. There, the programs which fall within that category would be the education facilities as well as the health facilities. And then there's the other option. If you needed to create an additional program, once again, you can press new. If you need to delete, you can select it and delete. If you need to edit, you can select it and edit. So this is how you would then update or make any changes in terms of the sector, subsector, and then the program. The remaining tabs within the application administrator, they don't normally have a hierarchical fashion. The various options that appear in the various drop-down lists. The system tries to use a lot of drop-down lists to avoid the users having to manually capture the information, because we're trying to make sure that we improve the accuracy and the validity of the inputs that the users capture. When users have to select from the drop-down list or capture input with regards to the source of funds on an EPWP project, this is where you set up the options that they can choose. These are the options that have already been set up now: EPWP incentive grant, equitable share, and once again, you can filter, add a new item, edit an existing one, and delete an existing one. Training courses. This is where you would add any training course that the users would attend. Let's say we want to add a new one. We just click on new and then say this is a bricklaying course, because in this project they are going to employ some youths. And then you need to describe it. There's your course, it's created there, so it's available as an option. We've already discussed project outputs, education level. You can also create the education level here, and then you can choose which one needs to be set for default. It's the same way that you would do it. You will say new and then create it here. Same with race classifications, same with the milestones that the project has. These are the standard milestones that are available on the project. These are the options that people can choose in terms of the milestones. Help test. In order for the system to be user-friendly, it uses a lot of help whenever users have to capture information on the system. On every input field, you could put an explanation or a description or guidance to indicate to the users how they need to capture that information. Based on the various stages of the project processing, at each and every stage, there are help fields that when the users click on them, this text is going to come out. This is where you actually update it. For example, let's look at the dates, this estimated start date. Here, we explain that this is where the user must actually enter the planned start date for the EPWP project. Then it actually then explains to them how they can do it. Is either they can enter it by selecting it on the calendar, or they can enter the system manually, but they need to stick to a specific format. So this creates a lot of user friendliness of the system, and this is where you would go about changing or updating any information with regards to the help test. Once you've captured all the changes that you need at the bottom, you can just click save. And then that will save all the information with regards to the help test. And then this is where you would set up the information with regards to KPI targets. It's similar to the other ones. The important one that I want to show is the one with regards to the uploads of templates. For users to capture bulk information, such as the beneficiary, they need to use existing spreadsheets. This is where you would update the template, the spreadsheets, and then upload them onto here. So right now, this is the existing template for this one. If one wanted to edit it, one will select it and then edit it. And then they would then have to browse and go to that Excel template to say which is the template that they want to edit. And then they can change it and then press save. Then once they've done save, that template would be updated. So that's how you would actually go ahead and actually do that. These are just standard system settings that you would set here, things like the minimum working age, maximum working age. And then these are the standard information that are used for reporting and used as a basis of calculation. To make any changes, you will change them here, but it's seldom that you're going to change some of these settings. And then once you've done your changes, you would then log out by stepping back and getting back to the main page for the application administrator. And we've already covered the administration and the application data, which are the two additional tabs that an application administrator does. And you can sign out as an application administrator the normal way that you sign out, and that covers all the jobs, the functions of an application administrator.